Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties, education, and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Barber, Director of Cultural Affairs for Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Liberty Counsel files a lawsuit against a public library for its unconstitutional denial for religious meetings. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action, and joining me again in studio is Deryl Edwards, President of Liberty Counsel Action. Deryl, this is in keeping with what we were talking about yesterday. There seems to be a marked increase in recent weeks and months of government infringement on the free exercise of religion, particularly with left-wing organizations and left-wing public officials. Liberty Counsel has filed a federal lawsuit against the Public Library of Seaside, Oregon, for denying access for an educational meeting that included religious content. The library meeting area is offered free of charge for nonprofit groups, but the library's policy discriminates on the basis of religious content and viewpoint, stating, quote, "Meeting rooms shall not be used for religious services or proselytizing." Deryl, that is a blatant violation of the First Amendment. That is viewpoint discrimination. I am very confident that Liberty Counsel will be victorious in this lawsuit. However, the chilling effect is still in effect, and you would think, a library, that they scream censorship if you try to at least provide some basic common sense guidelines on preventing children from accessing pornography and so forth. They scream censorship, yet many on the left, even in public officials, are the first to jump in and censor religious free exercise.
Yeah, I'm always amazed that in cases like this, viewpoint discrimination, which I think the Supreme Court has ruled repeatedly that is unconstitutional, and I've seen Liberty Counsel take these cases over and over again. It's usually some school board, it's a library here or there, it's some organization, usually public, and sometimes it might be a letter, and they kind of back off, and they sort of didn't realize that sometimes it takes a lawsuit to be filed like this. But it's almost always, you say, a slam dunk that it's unconstitutional. And what surprises me, what I'm always amazed at, is how it just comes up over and over again. And it's sort of like if an organization like Liberty Counsel was not there, and there's not that many of them, there's a couple of others, a few others, but if they weren't there, they would get away with this because the average person really wouldn't know what to do. They would just throw up their hands and go, I guess so, I guess that's the way it is, I guess that's separation of church and state, which is what the left wants us to believe. But we have to have organizations who are on the front lines, and I think Matt Staver and Liberty Counsel have been doing this since 1989. They have to be there fighting it.
Yeah. Well, secular progressives are nothing if not persistent. And we have seen, for instance, the American Civil Liberties Union for years has filed frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit attempting to push any reference to Christianity particularly. It's not just a hostility toward religion generally. It seems to be focused mostly at the Christian faith. For instance, the Good News Clubs, the Child Evangelism Fellowship. Liberty Counsel has defended Good News Clubs and CEF on dozens of occasions when schools have done just what the public library is doing here, said, no, you are a Christian club, therefore because of this broad, overreaching misapplication of the notion of separation of church and state, you must be discriminated against and pushed out of the school. And even the ACLU's own promotional materials say that government must treat religious organizations and religious individuals differently because the Constitution demands it. Well, that is just absurd. Yet that's what we see happening over and over again. And I'm happy to report that Liberty Counsel in well over 90% of the times that we go up against libraries like this or schools that are discriminating against CEF and the Good News Clubs, we win. We almost always win, yet there they are, the ACLU, and we talked yesterday about Americans United for Separation of Church and State and other anti-Christian organizations. They are tireless. They're relentless. They keep chipping away. We even see in New York right now where they're trying to codify into law discrimination against Christian groups within public schools, clearly unconstitutional. The case law is without question, and certainly the Constitution is very clear that this is discrimination, yet we see, as I mentioned, a marked increase in this kind of discrimination and this systemic drive to push Christianity out of any public forum.
Well, the good thing is, thanks to the Constitution and the godly men who were the founding fathers who wrote this, I think guided by Christian principles, which are laid out in the Declaration of Independence in many cases, that we have this to stand on. And we have people like Matt Staver who are willing to go to court and fight this. Sometimes it's seemingly all alone. I mean, I've been in a courtroom with Matt Staver, and I've watched like him and one other person on his side and a whole bank of attorneys on the other side, whether they be ACLU or they might be government attorneys, and they come in like 10 of them. And I was like, wow, it's like 1 against 10. But, you know, that's not bad odds if you've got the Constitution is on your side anyway. So, but I think we need to keep our support up for people like Matt and others who are out there fighting on the front lines.
Well, John Adams, signer of the Declaration of Independence, our second president, he often quoted on, and as did George Washington, on the importance of maintaining religion and morality in the public sense. They call, George Washington called religion and morality indispensable pillars of any healthy government. John Adams said, "It is religion and morality alone which can establish the principles upon which freedom can securely stand. The only foundation of a free constitution is pure virtue." Yet we now have folks who are anti-religious, are pushing an agenda that is amoral or even immoral, controlling the reins of government. I've often said, President Obama, for instance, pushes policies that are immoral, from a biblical standpoint, from the context of the beliefs that our founding fathers held in the framework of the Judeo-Christian tradition. Clearly, the policies that are being pushed by this administration, by like-minded progressives, and in government positions, like here at the public library in Seaside, Oregon, they are trying to push out any notion of religion or morality, and they're doing it under the guise of this, again, misapplication of separation of church and state. Well, Liberty Counsel's application for using the meeting rooms, as mentioned, was denied. The only reason given for the denial was the organization's intention to provide educational training from a religious perspective. The library staff said they saw no reason for reapplying for similar use because the application would also be denied because of the religious restriction. Clearly, this is unconstitutional, Daryl, and so we're taking them to court.
Yeah, I think it's funny. It's like, and don't even bother reapplying because we're going to slam it shut on you again next time.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to go to court over these things, and as I said, if you know that the Constitution protects your freedom that way, that's what the courts are for. They're not evil in themselves, although there's been some bad rulings from some of the courts, but they're supposed to be designed for our protection, to protect our rights.
Well, the Establishment Clause, 10 words within the First Amendment. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. That's it. That's the Establishment Clause. Congress shall make no law. Well, who are they talking about there, as we've talked about here? But Congress, the United States Congress, shall not make a law which imposes a federal religion, an established federal religion like the Anglican Church in Great Britain. Thomas Jefferson's letter to the Danbury Baptist, he talked about a wall of separation of church and state which protected the Danbury Baptists from the state. Well, it has been flipped on its head case after case since then, and it has come to mean essentially that any reference to Christianity, to religion, to morality must be pushed out of any government organization such as a public library, public schools, and that is simply and clearly the historical record is unequivocal. That was not the intent of our founding fathers. That is not the clear stated intent of the United States Constitution. It is the exact opposite. The free exercise clause says, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That is why they have it in the First Amendment. Our forefathers left Europe so that they could have religious freedom. Yet here today, we find ourselves back in a situation similar to that of the time of the Revolutionary War, where First Amendment rights, where religious freedom is clearly being quashed. Go to lc.org to learn how you can become part of Liberty Counsel's team to help fight back.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.